If you have an issue with my policies, you're free to leave.
What? During the internal competition, it became obvious that the work Mike, a nepotism hire, presented was blatantly plagiarized from mine. Yet, David dared to say such a thing. Wait, that doesn't make sense. You know this is my proposal, right, David? How could he disregard my hard work and dedication of his employees like this? As I struggled to accept it, David looked down at me with annoyance and said,
The facts don't matter. His mere presence is an asset to this company. And you? Does your existence benefit anyone? That's all there is to it. Someone as worthless as you should leave. Go to the countryside and take the time to learn your place.
Next to him, Mike smirked smugly. I couldn't understand their way of thinking. To them, I was just a disposable pawn. Desperate to put distance between myself and them, I accepted the transfer. However, it was at my new assignment that my story of redemption would begin. My name is Chris, and I work at a company that plans and sells apparel. We target men and women in their 20s to 40s, so I always need to keep an eye on both trends and timeless styles. Since I'm part of the planning department, that's even more important. I've been working at this company for 5 years now, and I've started to want to create clothing that reflects my own vision. To make my dream a reality, the fastest path is to gain a voice, along with the experience and knowledge to support it, achieve results, and secure a leadership position. One opportunity to prove myself is an internal competition. If I can show my passion and skills here, it could give me an advantage in the future. However, I don't think I can compete against the talented employees here on my own. That's why I need a partner. So I decided to ask the person I really want on my team for help. Scott, would you join me for the company competition?
What?
I approached my coworker Scott, who had started working at the same time as I had. Unlike me, who graduated from a third-tier college, he's a graduate of a prestigious university. Although he is serious and highly competent, he somehow doesn't seem to blend in with those around him, and I rarely see him getting close to anyone. Someone once said that Scott is hard to approach or something like that, but I don't see him that way. On the contrary, I feel like I can trust him and rely on him completely. Sorry to spring this on you, but I want to join the company competition. The thing is, I don't feel like I can compete with the other employees on my own. If you're okay with it, I was hoping I could count on your help, Scott.
Well,
Of course, I'm not going to push you if you're busy. Just make your work your first priority. I'd really like to get your input and ideas.
wait. Why me?
Well, because having you on my side would be like having 100 people's worth of support. You're smart, adaptable, incredibly creative, have great taste, and an amazing ability to pick up on trends.
Okay, hold on. You're overdoing it.
Scott cut me off, looking flustered as he weakly shook his head.
I'm not someone who deserves that kind of praise. I'm boring, introverted, don't fit in with the others, and people say I'm hard to approach.
I was stunned. Scott, who seemed capable of anything and someone I admired, actually thought that about himself. Come on, why would you say that? There's no doubt you're a talented guy.
You're more hardworking, Chris. You're great with people. You absorb things quickly, And honestly, I think you're amazing.
You really think that about me? Wow, that makes me so happy. And with that, Scott and I started working together for the competition. Even though Scott had his own work to handle, he made time to brainstorm ideas and share the workload. After lots of trial and error, we prepared our presentation materials and headed into the competition. The order was decided by drawing lots, and we ended up presenting right after our department manager, Mike. Mike is the son of one of the company's clients. In other words, he got his jobs through connections. When he found out we were preparing for the competition, he said,
"You guys, as regular employees, are joining the competition. You should know your place. No matter what you do, it's meaningless if you don't have any talent."
I couldn't understand why he got any pleasure out of belittling younger employees like us. From what I'd seen of his work, there wasn't a single thing I could respect about him. He spent his work hours playing games and was often spotted slacking off under the guise of client visits. The only reason he gets away with this is because of his family connections to this company. Frankly, my opinion of Mike couldn't be worse. Hearing his comments only fueled Scott and me to work even harder. On the day of the competition, Scott and I were stunned by the video Mike showed on the screen, his words, and the content of his presentation. Everything was identical to ours. It was as if he had rehearsed our presentation. Scott, this is.
I've heard rumors before. Mike has a history of submitting work created by others as his own.
So, he stole our presentation too?
There's no way it could be this identical otherwise.
I couldn't believe it. I never thought Mike would go out of his way to steal our presentation because I didn't see how it would benefit him in any way. But during the feedback session, he received considerable praise.
Interesting perspective, Mike. The design proposal is innovative too.
Those were the words that should have been directed at us. They were the result of our hard work and countless hours of deliberation. Yet, the person who stole it was getting all the credit. Hold on a second. I stood up. I couldn't care less about the stares around me. Mike, what's going on here? The content of your presentation is identical to ours, isn't it? Mike looked a bit surprised, probably not expecting me to call him out. However, his confident smirk didn't falter.
"Are you accusing me of stealing your idea? That's ridiculous. Just because my idea was good doesn't mean you can make baseless accusations."
Then, where did you source the data on page 5? And the draft design on page 8?
Well,
Mike hesitated, his eyes darting around. I can provide everything. After all, I created it. Can't you do the same, Mike? The room gradually filled with murmurs. But with one comment from the CEO, David, everything was decided.
As for this competition proposal, let's present it as Mike's.
For a moment, I couldn't process what he was saying. Wait, that doesn't make sense. You know this is my proposal, right, David?
Think about it. Presenting it as Mike's idea, as a department manager, adds more value to the project. You'd be happy with that too, wouldn't you? Besides, Mike's here because his very presence brings value to the company. And what value do you bring?
I was stunned. I never expected him to openly admit he got hired through connections. No matter how you look at it, this was completely irrational. I don't think that's a fair way to measure value. Shouldn't all employees be treated equally? And if Mike's actions are allowed, then this competition is meaningless.
If you have an issue with my policies, you're free to leave.
What did you say? David stared at me with annoyance. How could he prioritize favoritism over the hard work and dedication of his employees? Is this really acceptable?
You seem like the type to cause discord in this company. I'll be transferring you to a branch office.
Next to him, Mike smirked and added,
You should be grateful it's just a transfer. It's only because David is so generous. If you were someone worthless like you, I could have had you fired.
Well, I am magnanimous. I'll let this one act of defiance slide. But don't cause any trouble at your new location and learn your place.
By this point, I wasn't even surprised by their absurd statements. I couldn't understand their mindset, and they clearly saw me as nothing more than a disposable pawn. In fact, if I had to face them every day, I'd probably be consumed by anger and frustration. Desperate to put some distance between myself and them, I accepted the transfer. After everyone else left the meeting room, I found myself unable to move from where I stood. Only Scott remained by my side, deep in thought.
I'll go with you.
What?
It's not right for you to be demoted like this. Besides, I don't want to stay here either.
No, Scott. You need to stay at the main office. You're talented and have so much potential. I don't want to see that go to waste.
But
I want you to do your best here at headquarters. I'll take responsibility for this on my own. You stay here, and I'll do my best at the branch office.
all right. If you're saying that, then I'll try my best here.
And so, I was transferred to a branch office a few hours away from the main headquarters, near a rural area. On my first day at work, I was waiting at the bus stop when a woman wearing glasses sat down next to me. She pulled a book out of her bag and started flipping through the pages slowly. I took out my phone to reply to a message from Scott, who had sent me a text earlier, worried about me. After a while, I saw the bus approaching. When I stood up, the woman next to me also got up and stepped forward, even though the bus hadn't fully arrived yet. She bumped into me as I stood there motionless. Caught off guard, I couldn't keep my balance and ended up falling to the ground. When I opened my eyes, her face was right in front of mine.
Oh,
Oh, I'm so sorry. Apparently, she had fallen too and landed on top of me. She had large, bright eyes and was incredibly beautiful. There was a soft, pleasant smell of shampoo. As I sat there stunned, she spoke.
my glasses.
I handed her the glasses that must have fallen off during the tumble.
I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention to where I was going.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. She quickly got off me, stood up, and offered me her hand. After helping me up, she casually put on her glasses. She looks cuter without them. I found myself thinking something completely irrelevant to the situation. Maybe because we'd been so close to each other, the air felt awkward, and I couldn't meet her eyes. My heart was pounding. We boarded the bus, and I stayed silent, staring down until I reached my stop. At the branch office, I was introduced to the HR staff and managers in a meeting room. Despite my transfer happening in the middle of the term, they had prepared everything for me, and I couldn't be more grateful.
For details about your job, you can ask Julie. She can teach you anything you need to know. She's sitting right next to your desk.
I immediately took my belongings to my seat and struck up a conversation with the woman sitting next to me. "Are you Julie? My name is Chris, and I'll be under your guidance starting today."
I've heard about you. You're Chris, right? Nice to meet you.
When Julie turned to look at me, her eyes met mine, and she froze with her mouth slightly open. I also stiffened in place. It was her, the woman I'd bumped into at the bus stop this morning.
This morning.
"Oh well, about that. Thanks." I gave an awkward response, even by my own standards. Julie's expression tensed for a moment, but she quickly cleared her throat and reset her composure.
I'm Julie. Nice to meet you.
"Yes, nice to meet you too." The atmosphere was indescribable, but we exchanged glances as if silently agreeing to move on and forget it. Julie, who was assigned to train me, turned out to be incredibly capable at her job. She was excellent at explaining things, and whenever I had a question, she would work through it with me until we found a solution. By the next day, she'd always have additional materials ready for me, and she never let her own work slip either. She was the kind of person I aspired to be if I ever became a mentor myself. Lately, though, I found myself increasingly drawn to Julie. It's because I often catch her looking at me like she wants to say something. On the bus ride to work, during office hours, even on breaks, she always seems to have that look. It doesn't seem work-related, so I'm guessing it must be something personal. Now that I'm paying more attention, I've realized that behind her glasses are large, bright eyes. Her slender nose and small lips make her easily fall into the beautiful category. It's almost a shame she hides her face with bangs that cover her eyes. She might not even realize how attractive she is. And here I am, being watched by this beautiful woman all the time, starting to feel a flicker of hope that maybe there's something more to it. There's no way Julie would be interested in someone like me. That's just me being overly self-conscious. But still, isn't she looking at me a bit too much? Am I overthinking this? But really, would someone stare at someone they don't care about? I mean, isn't this the kind of setup you'd see as a plot twist in a drama or comic? Wait, calm down myself. This isn't a drama or a comic. But still. Well, is there something you want to ask me? In the end, I decided to gather my courage and ask her before heading home.
What?
You seemed like you wanted to say something to me. If it's hard to talk about in front of others, we could go somewhere more private. I'd already scouted a nice cafe nearby, just in case. As I nervously waited for her reply, Julie slowly opened her mouth.
Chris, do you know Scott from headquarters?
What? Hearing Scott's name out of nowhere, my voice involuntarily rose in surprise. Yeah, I do. He's my coworker from the same batch.
I thought so. He's younger than me, but we went to the same college. He was famous for being a genius back then. So even though we work in different offices, it's nice knowing we're in the same company. I was just wondering how he's doing now.
It felt like a heavy weight dropped onto my shoulders. So Julie wasn't interested in me. It was Scott all along. See? Life doesn't work out like some made-up story. Feeling a bit hollow, I explained how talented and kind Scott was. People used to think he was unapproachable, but he's nothing like that. As I said that, I realized something. Since meeting Julie, I'd been feeling a strange sense of delusion. She was similar to Scott in many ways. Julie was also incredibly good at her job, perhaps the best in the company, but I'd never seen her talk about personal matters or go out for drinks with anyone. Even during breaks, she doesn't talk to anyone and instead reads her book. She exudes an aura that seems to say, "Don't talk to me." Julie might also be isolated because of her exceptional abilities. I told her about how Scott mistakenly thought he didn't fit in. It was a sad misunderstanding. People admired him because he was so talented. I couldn't help but think that she might be in a similar situation. Hearing this, Julie gave a sad smile.
You're right. We are similar, but there's a big difference. People hate me.
They hate you? I remembered my first day when the manager said she could teach me anything. I thought it was a sign of how trusted she was. I couldn't imagine that she was actually disliked.
I'm always alone. You've noticed that, right? It's been like this ever since I started working independently. Work has been going well, and I've even received awards, which I'm grateful for. But I feel like everyone's keeping their distance.
That's probably because you're so capable, Julie. Maybe they just don't know what to talk to you about.
I've even heard people whispering behind my back, saying that elites like me could never understand what it's like to be them.
In other words, there was a wall between Julie and the other employees. Neither side could bridge the gap, which caused them to view each other as adversaries. They probably just don't realize that deep down, you're bothered by feeling isolated. After all, everyone here is part of the same company. If you just talk to them.
It's too late for that. Even when it's just work-related matters, people tense up as soon as I approach them.
In the end, nothing was resolved that day. However, just understanding how Julie felt was a significant breakthrough. At the very least, I want to support Julie someday. Everyone else will see her for who she really is. But is there anything else I can do? I thought about it a lot, but no good ideas came to mind. Then, one day, I saw Julie talking to our coworker, Kate, about something work-related. It looked like Julie was pointing out a mistake Kate had made. Kate's expression seemed slightly irritated. I thought it might be tough to have a mistake pointed out by a more capable coworker, but I watched as the conversation wrapped up without issue. But as Kate started to walk away, Julie called out to her.
That outfit with all the ruffles is so cute.
Julie looked Kate up and down as she said it. At that moment, Kate's eyes turned sharp.
And what's that supposed to mean? Are you saying it doesn't suit me?
What?
Of course, someone like you with a perfect figure would look great in it.
That's not what I meant.
First you act all high and mighty pointing out my mistake, and now you're criticizing my outfit? Who do you think you are?
It seemed like Kate misunderstood and thought Julie was criticizing her clothing.
Are you saying I shouldn't wear ruffled clothes? Sure, I'm at an age where it might not seem appropriate, but I chose a design I thought was age appropriate. Besides, this is an apparel company. I can wear whatever I want without being judged.
Wait a minute. I stepped in front of Kate, gently pushing a bewildered Julie aside. The unusual tension in Kate's voice caught the attention of the other employees, who stood up from their desks to watch. I don't think Julie meant it that way. Actually, One of the brands we're working on for our project has a concept centered around elegant, fancy clothing for adults. She probably thought your outfit could be a great reference for it. When I glanced at Julie, she nodded in agreement. I showed Kate the draft of the project proposal we were working on. See? We've written down various ideas here. It's still a rough draft we haven't submitted to the designers yet, but it includes things like ruffles and ribbons.
Did you draw this sketch, Chris?
Yes.
It's amazing. You're so talented. You could totally work as a designer.
Thank you, but I want to focus more on the foundational aspects of planning. That's why I've been practicing sketching, just like Julie.
Julie sketches?
At that remark, the office buzzed with whispers. Apparently, it wasn't common knowledge.
Julie, you can sketch.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm good at it. I'm still practicing, and it's nothing worth showing. Compared to Kate, who's incredibly skilled at sketching, I'm nowhere near her level.
Kate's eyes widened in surprise.
I can't believe you'd say that, Julie. I always assumed you looked down on me because you're so good at your job.
Why would I? Your sense of style is outstanding, especially your use of color. It's amazing how you always catch trends on social media. I've learned so much from you.
Wait, you follow me?
Of course.
Which account?
This one.
Wait, that's you, Julie. I always thought whoever ran that account had such cool accessories.
Really? Thanks.
The two of them started laughing and chatting excitedly, and soon a small crowd gathered around them. It seemed like the potential conflict was avoided, and I felt relieved. The next day, Julie invited me out for a meal.
I've had so many more chances to talk to people now. I think it's because you stepped in to support me. Thank you.
It's really thanks to your personality, Julie. The restaurant Julie picked had a great atmosphere and delicious food. As she smiled, holding her glass, she looked absolutely radiant.
No, it's thanks to that proposal and your quick thinking. You understood what I was trying to say and conveyed it clearly to the other person. It felt like watching a presentation. Chris, you're quite talented.
I'm glad to hear that.
To be honest, when I heard someone was being transferred here from headquarters, I wondered if they'd messed up, couldn't do their job, or had some other issue. But you're nothing like that. Because